All right, so welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about. The first and biggest thing is a major event that's happening in the crypto space tomorrow. So you want to watch this video before then, all right, to get all the details on everything you should know before this happens, okay? So we've been talking about this for weeks on this live stream. There are lots of other people talking about this. We're really excited about it. So I'm going to tell you what you need to know in this video and what you should watch out for, okay? We're talking about some other news that's happened since our live stream yesterday, okay? So before we get into that, if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you learn how to become a blockchain master step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. So we've got Clairvoyant Alliance, Lee, Jessica, CK, Pooblock, Rhodes, Natasha, Game Elevator, Jason. Welcome. All right, so the big event that's happening tomorrow that you need to know about, all right, is the Coinbase IPO. So we've been talking about that a lot in this channel, but it's actually a really important thing that you have to watch out for because it could be a major catalyst for the cryptocurrency markets and the whole blockchain space as a whole in either direction, okay? And nobody really knows for sure what's going to happen. People are talking about this online. They're super excited. Some people are scared. So I want to offer some different perspectives on this to tell you what you should watch out for and then tell you my personal opinion, okay? So first, let's get into just what this is at all. So Coinbase, one of the biggest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world that operates inside the US is getting publicly listed on the stock market tomorrow. So New York Stock Exchange to a direct listing, okay, under this ticker COIN. So this has been a long anticipated event. It's one of the big things that people have been watching out for as sort of a catalyst for the bull market. So, when cryptocurrency prices are going up like this in a longer trend upward, called a bull market, there are typically things on the horizon that keep people excited. All right, they're buying cryptocurrency anticipation for this type of thing. So we've had lots of things like that. We've had lots of news come out that have sort of put a wind in the sails for this bull market to rage harder and harder and harder. And this has been one of those things. So now that we're here, now we're approaching this tomorrow, a few things could happen. So some people think it's going to be a good thing for the crypto markets. Some people think it's going to be a bad thing for the crypto markets. And some people think, hey, it's not going to be that significant either way. So we're talking about each of those, and hopefully you can form your own opinion. So as always, not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy or sell cryptocurrency based on this information. I'm just going to kind of weigh the different thoughts here for educational purposes so you can also make your own decisions, all right? So let's get into the first one, which is it's going to be a good thing for the cryptocurrency markets. That's what a lot of people are assuming, okay? So the big assumption behind this is that there are two things. Number one, that essentially everybody who's been invested in Coinbase for a long time before it's gone public are now going to basically cash out in an IPO and then rotate a lot of those funds into cryptocurrency, okay? And these would be large amounts of money, all right, where they can basically sell, move over into cryptocurrency, top cap coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and watch the prices of those increase significantly based on people who have exited, with the Coinbase earnings and gone into crypto. So, sorry, let me pause my notifications here. So that's the first big assumption people are talking about. Another one is that it's just been a narrative that's been dragging us up to a higher high with Bitcoin, Ethereum, et cetera, and that's been just good because people are buying it for anticipation of this event. Okay, the other big positive is that it's bringing more awareness to crypto. People want to get exposure to cryptocurrencies who don't necessarily want to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, et cetera, just by buying a publicly traded company that's involved in the cryptocurrency industry. So basically, just getting exposure to cryptocurrency without actually owning cryptocurrency or even buying, something through like Grayscale, or if we ever had a Bitcoin ETF or something like that, they're able to just buy their exposure through a Coinbase IPO, and also maybe similar exchanges that would IPO later. So those are the thoughts on why it would be a good thing. All right, so let's talk about why it could not be a good thing. All right, so there are people on the other side of this equation here. So the counter arguments are, one, it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news type of situation. So we see this a lot in the cryptocurrency markets where essentially people are buying, they know an event's going to happen, Okay, it hasn't happened yet, and they know that other people are basically accumulating cryptocurrency before this happens. And then whenever the event happens, they sell it instantly, and we watch the price go down. We've seen this time and time and time again for projects that have, some big announcement come out. We get, an announcement of announcement on Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. And so people accumulate their coins waiting for this to happen, and then it happens, and then the price just dumps, right? The announcements are often, or the actual events are often underwhelming compared to people's expectations. We talked about it yesterday in the live stream yesterday, like the Gartner hype cycle. You see the big fluctuation and drop and go up. So that's one perspective. The other sort of negative perspective is that essentially if everybody's thinking the same way, if everybody thinks it's going to be good, then the contrarian take is that it's probably going to be bad. Right? You kind of see this in the cryptocurrency markets where some people think it's going to be up only, right? And then it's not up only, right? Prices completely tank. So it's not, you can't always be systematically contrarian and be right all the time, because you'd be wrong if you were just the last few months thinking we were in a bear market when we were in a bull market. But that is one perspective, okay? And then the last one, well, there's a couple. One is like talking about the CME that was launched in 2017 at the top of the bull run. Everybody thought this is an example of what I'm talking about. Everybody thought this was going to be a good thing, that it was up only, with the CME. This is a new paradigm. Now we have, major exposure. Now traditional finance has way better exposure to Bitcoin, et cetera, et cetera. And the CME launch in 2017 basically corresponded with the absolute top. So it's hard to say for sure whether that was, the thing that made it the top. But there is something to the fact that everybody was kind of assuming that it was going to be good, and it was, it was not the thing that, just carried them off into infinity. So those are some of the negative things. The last sort of negative thing is once this is gone, at least for Bitcoin, we're kind of running out of things to look forward to, kind of big events on the calendar that could be catalysts for Bitcoin price going up that we know about right now, okay? So that's the other negative things. We're kind of running out of juice for like events to watch out for. Now, certainly could have other things come up on the calendar, but that's sort of another vote in the opposite direction. So the last perspective really is that it's not going to make a big difference either way, that the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies could go up a little bit or down a little bit, and it wouldn't really be statistically significant where you could point to this particular event and say that this likely had a major effect one way or the other. So my opinion is still, I don't know. I'm going to wait and see what happens. I think it's a big thing for sure, regardless of what happens with the price short term. I think it's huge that, it establishes the cryptocurrency industry, establishes the blockchain industry for us to have a major exchange like this in the United States with lots of regulations on top of it listed publicly, okay, to the New York Stock Exchange. That to me is the bigger picture here. Huge validation for the space, establishes it, gives it authority, helps people trust crypto more, helps people trust exchanges like Coinbase more when they're publicly traded like this. So that's my take. I don't know for sure what's going to happen with the price. We're just going to sit back and, grab some popcorn, grab a snack, and see what happens. So I'm going to do mostly what I do with these types of things is I'm not really going to do anything. Like, not financial advice for you, but for me, I'm not really doing anything until, unless I have a good reason to, put it that way. So let's go ahead and check on the prices because, we're seeing new all-time highs across, Ether, Bitcoin, others. I'm pretty sure Bitcoin printed a new all-time high. Let me just take a look. Sometimes it's hard to know. Let's see, the previous all-time high was 63. Yep, we printed a new one. So we got Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. Ethereum. Yeah, we went up to, let's see here. Yeah, we're basically there right now. 2249. Yep, 2249. We're basically sitting at all-time high right now. So this is crazy. So yeah, I do think that this particular event is having an effect on the crypto markets right now. But again, it could be one of those situations where it's a buy the rumor, sell the news type situation. We just don't know. Okay, it does seem to me like this is having an impact right now because we're seeing a sea of green here on the crypto charts. But yeah, we don't know until after the event, after it finishes. Let's take a look at some on-chain metrics, kind of see what the network is doing, how the I'm really curious to see what's happened as far as net unrealized profit loss goes, if we're starting to get frothier. Because don't forget, when prices move up faster, the market does get frothier, and we do lose some headroom on that Newpol chart. So let's go ahead and check on that here. So I'm looking at the on-chain metrics here for net unrealized profit loss. Okay, so basically this is looking at the percentage of the network that's in profit, net unrealized profit versus net unrealized loss. So unrealized is key there. Without getting too far in the weeds, basically you want to stay away from blue, 0.75. We are at 0.69. That looks like that's from yesterday's price. So this won't have, let's see here. Yeah, so we got to wait for a day for the price to recalculate. But, yeah, we'll see how fast. I imagine it'll move up pretty fast. So I think we'll probably shoot up to, like, up in this range. So we're definitely moving back towards that level. We'll see what happens. What I honestly hope does not happen, I hope we don't see a situation where we just like kind of rocket up like at a 2x from here, and something like the Bitcoin price, because that to me would be closer to what I would call like a blow off top that would, you know, sort of end the party for the bull market that's happening right now. So we'll see. So let's go ahead and look at another thing that I saw floating around yesterday, which is coming from the we're talking about publicly traded companies, New York Stock Exchange, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this is, we're starting to see NFTs, really gain more mainstream adoption here. Let's pull this up. So yesterday, the New York Stock Exchange, the same New York Stock Exchange that you're probably thinking of here, the one everybody knows. It's a major milestone when a company lists on the New York Stock Exchange and begins trading for the first time. Today, we're celebrating that moment by launching the first New York Stock Exchange first trade NFTs. So basically, we're seeing the NFT craze take off even more. So the New York Times has picked this up, not New York Times, New York Stock Exchange has picked this up and is launching their own NFTs, basically tokenizing, giving you a digital collectible of the first time that a trade happened. Okay, so you can go look at their NFT page here. So basically, like, first time a company lists and they go traded, you get an NFT of that event. So like when Spotify lists and they're first traded with the price here, 165, then you get to own the NFT for that. So it's kind of crazy. We'll see how well that takes off. But again, we see more and more people jumping on this NFT trend. I've talked about how NFTs, I think, are, bigger for popular culture than DeFi is, because traditional finance really isn't a mainstream thing, to tell you the truth. Like, payments are everyday payments. People pay all the time. But you're talking about, like, trading on the stock market, getting into stocks and all that kind of stuff is not really a mainstream thing, in the sense of, I'm trying to choose my words well here. It's sort of like, it's just not everybody's into it. You know what I mean? But there's a lot more people who are into, this type of thing, where NFTs can touch their lives, where any type of media could basically be represented by NFT. It's easier to understand. It's less abstract. It's not about finance and numbers and money and all that kind of stuff that honestly a lot of people just don't really care about that much. And that's why I think NFTs are going to continue to be huge. And we're definitely seeing more and more people jump on that bandwagon. New York Stock Exchange is one example. So let's go ahead and look at another thing that I saw yesterday. So we're seeing more and more companies, integrate Bitcoin on their balance sheets, corporate buying of cryptocurrencies, institutional adoption, all that kind of stuff. So yesterday we saw another story come out about Time magazine. Okay. So Time joins Tesla in keeping Bitcoin on its balance sheet. Okay, so let's jump into this and see what they're talking about here. So it's not as big as the Tesla news. Of course, we saw Tesla, Elon Musk and Tesla buy $1.5 billion of Bitcoin for their balance sheet. I guess it's been a couple months now. It was earlier this year. Time kind of escapes me a little bit. I can't remember exactly what the date was, but so it's not probably the same magnitude as that. But let's go ahead and look here. So it's only a matter of time. So anyways, Time Magazine will now be receiving payments in Bitcoin, all right, according to Grayscale CEO. So like Tesla, they won't be immediately converting that to fiat. So this is a trend that we're seeing. Basically, people turning on Bitcoin payments for their company, anybody that accepts money. And when they receive these payments, they'll just store it. They won't convert it to fiat currency, because this is really common. Like, let's say you go to a website and you see a pay with cryptocurrency option. Let's say it's an e-commerce website. Let's say you created a Shopify store and you want to sell, I don't know, like, let's say you're like a drop shipper or something like that, right? You're a drop shipper. You put up a Shopify website and you sell, you know, like, I don't know, household goods or something. Let people pay with Bitcoin, and you put a Bitcoin checkout on your Shopify store. Well, basically, a lot of times you're accepting Bitcoin payments from other people, and that Bitcoin, you have like a payment processor plugin that's essentially converting that Bitcoin into dollars at the time of the transaction, where they pay with Bitcoin and you receive dollars. Okay. So we're starting to see this trend where bigger companies who think it's going to be a good idea to hold Bitcoin for the long term will take payments in the cryptocurrency and then not do that conversion. They'll just take the Bitcoin, they'll hold on to it, and because they're betting on it appreciating in value long term. Okay, and so there may be some advanced strategy here, kind of under the hood, that's good for these big players that I don't totally see. But we're seeing more people do this. We saw this with Tesla. So Tesla now has a way for you to buy their vehicles in Bitcoin. If you go to Tesla's website, you can just pay with Bitcoin. Okay. And Tesla talked about how they're just going to keep that on their balance sheet. They're not going to convert it to, fiat currency, not going to instantly convert it to USD. And that's going to be in addition to Tesla's big buy of $1.5 billion that happened earlier this year. It's doing the same type of thing here with Time Magazine. So this is big. We're seeing a bigger trend of this. More and more companies buy this. You can actually go look. There's a website where you can see a list of companies that have done this. There are a couple websites floating around, but one of the easiest ways to do is go to CoinGecko. Okay, you can look at publicly traded companies who hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So you go to CoinGecko.com. /en/public companies Bitcoin. All right, you can see a growing list here. So I've seen other websites come about this too, but you can also change this to Ethereum. And you can see, me too is the only one on this list, but I do expect this to grow over time. I think we're going to see people kind of go down that curve of saying like, okay, here's Bitcoin. Well, here's what's the next thing we can look at. I think Ethereum is the next logical choice for a lot of people. Okay. So this is pretty big too. If you want to ever go check on this and see what companies are holding Bitcoin in this balance sheet, they're jumping on this train. I don't think we see time on here just yet, but it's a big deal. All right. So the next thing that I want to look at here is, let's take a look here. More talk about layer 2 scaling solutions on Ethereum. So this is a big deal. Like, if you've used the Ethereum network, of course, a lot of people's complaints are it's too slow, it's too expensive. I like these other chains because they, are better. Maybe you use Binance Smart Chain, done Pancake Swap or something like that and done transactions for a lot cheaper. Of course, we've been talking about, layer 2s built on top of Ethereum that are really going to help out this problem in the long term. We have layer 2 scaling solutions on Ethereum right now. There's not very widely adopted, widely spread. But we're seeing this come out in full force. You've been watching these live streams, you've been watching my channel. We've been talking about, Optimism launch that was supposed to happen in March. It's gotten pushed back. Uniswap version 3 is launching in May. That's the advertised date at least. And then supposed to launch on layer 2 shortly after that. Okay, so they're going to do initial mainnet launch and then move over to layer 2, I believe in a matter of about a week. Okay, so we'll see if that happens. Of course, we've seen some of these updates pushed back in the past, so I don't want to get everybody's hopes up too high because, of course, anything could happen. But I did see an update yesterday about another layer 2 scaling solution, basically for ZK Sync. All right, so the layer 2 scaling solutions on Ethereum broadly split off into two categories. So the major category is roll-ups. So basically taking all the Ethereum transactions and then batching them up so that they're settled on chain Kind of all at one time. Okay. So there are different ways to do this. There's optimistic rollups, and then there's ZK rollups. Okay. So one of the scaling solutions I've talked about a lot is optimistic rollups. That's what optimism is. That's what others are that do a very similar type of thing. Basically, one of the reasons I've been so excited about it is because it makes it really easy for developers to move their smart contracts over without learning a new programming language, without learning new developer tools, etc., etc. That helps the ecosystem grow really fast. That's one of the reasons we've seen Binance Smart Chain grow really fast, because Binance Smart Chain is just a fork of Ethereum that changes some settings to make it faster. And basically, if you know Solidity, you can write smart contracts for Ethereum. You can really easily just move over to Binance Smart Chain. Okay. So very similarly, it's very easy to move your app over to something like optimistic Ethereum because it's just the same coding language, minimal coding changes. You just move your app over. I'm kind of simplifying it, but that's the big benefit. Okay. So that's been a big friction point for something like zero knowledge solutions. But basically, they're talking about here with ZK Sync, they're saying ZK versus optimistic rollups debate is about to end. ZK Porter, an engine for mass crypto adoption, is coming with EVM. There's a lot of technical jargon. I'll break this down. Okay, EVM enabled ZK Sync 2.0 this August. It will reshape the entire L2 landscape. So I need to look into this more to develop a full opinion on this, but this is something exciting that I want to bring to you all first, so you can learn more about it too. So ZK. Basically what they're talking about is the thing that's been hard for zero knowledge based solutions has been porting your app over without having to make a bunch of code changes. But they're talking about they're removing this friction to make it much easier. And I know some people are kind of looking at the layer 2 landscape for scaling Ethereum over the long term as basically saying like optimism and optimistic rollups are a great solution for the short to midterm, but moving more towards zero knowledge based solutions as better for the long term. But if we can have the long term solution sooner, that makes it easier for you to port your apps over, then why wouldn't we just do that? And that looks like an exciting possibility here. So there's a lot to explore, a lot of questions here. I'm not saying that this is like the end all be all necessarily, but this is a really cool thing on the horizon that I'm personally excited about, want to learn more about, and want to share with you all. So definitely keep this on your radar. I think the big picture here is Ethereum is going to scale relatively soon in the grand scheme of things. I know when I say this type of stuff, people have different expectations. Soon is a very relative term when you're talking about technological innovation. The crypto space moves at 1 million miles an hour compared to other industries for lots of reasons. It's unregulated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cryptocurrency prices go up and down like crazy really fast. But a lot of people who haven't built technology before don't understand how difficult it is to really pull things off. Especially in blockchain, it's a lot harder because you have different constraints. It's not like building a regular app where you can just throw it out there and then, fix bugs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have to be much more careful because you're dealing with blockchain, you're dealing with people's money, all this kind of stuff, and a lot of stuff can't really change. You have to create new versions of it, et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, I say relatively soon, when we're talking about a few months in terms of developer time, that's a huge deal. When you can overcome a major hurdle in a few months, that's huge. Where some people think, a few months, that's like way too long because, I'm just waiting for my cryptocurrency to like double over the next week or something like that. But you have to understand how hard it is to do this. I use this analogy a lot. People always talk about like, this blockchain's like MySpace, that one's like Facebook, it's like Netscape versus Internet Explorer, et cetera, et cetera. I don't always think these analogies are great because you have to think about this stuff a lot like rocket science. Okay, you're trying to put a rocket on the moon. Nobody's put a rocket on the moon yet. Being the first person to put a rocket on the moon is really challenging. And yeah, if you were like, trying to develop a solution for modern day rocket science and you're like, hey, we're going to have a really good solution in a matter of months, that would be very soon when you're talking about that type of innovation. So let's see here. There's a lot to look forward to. I mean, I've just kind of scratched the surface on some of the things that I've seen since the last stream. Maybe I'll say some of these for tomorrow's stream. We'll check on the Coinbase IPO as it comes out and see what the results are. Is it going to be great for the crypto markets? Are we going to see prices just soar past this? Are we going to see it dump because people are buying the rumor, selling the news? Is it going to be a total, is it going to be the opposite of everybody's thinking like the CME was in 2017? We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Let me know in the live stream chat. So let's go ahead and answer some of your questions here in the chat. So we got some people fighting in the chat here. Somebody says, is Coinbase a buy tomorrow? So not financial advice. I'm not going to tell you to buy or sell Coinbase shares based on this information or cryptocurrency. Somebody says Uniswap rollups coming out in May. That is the advertised date. Yeah, so Uniswap V3 in May, and then layer 2 scaling with optimistic rollups very shortly after that, about a week or so. That's at least the advertised timelines. We could see some of the stuff pushed back, but that's what I know for now. Somebody says they're buying the Coinbase IPO. Let's see here. So someone says, do you think people are going to eventually dump Ethereum because of the fees? No, I don't think so. Because of what I've been talking about. At least the layer 2 scaling solution is really helping out that problem for the short term, midterm, and also the long term. Okay. Because basically, layer 2 scaling is going to be here for the long term with Ethereum. Even when we move to Ethereum 2.0, I've got a video coming out later today that actually explains this. Ethereum 2.0 is going to be huge, but layer 2 scaling is going to exist on top of that, okay, for a while. Because basically, it's always going to make Ethereum faster when we have this layer 2 scaling. So I think eventually we'll basically consolidate around a handful of layer 2 scaling solutions that you'll have a choice between, and then you'll operate on top of Ethereum primarily on top of those solutions. So when that's the case, and we also see those integrated on exchanges to where you can get on and off of exchanges, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, on these layer 2s without having to migrate yourself, then that's going to deliver major performance enhancements for Ethereum that will really help the fee problem out. Before we see other chains like try to ship their solution to destroy ETH. So that's my take. Anyways, and then when that happens, I don't think people are gonna just think that ETH is a failure or anything like that. We talked about yesterday about Binance Smart Chain. This is a big thing that got people really worked up, watching the BNB token climb like crazy. Seeing the adoption of Binance Smart Chain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And how, some people just don't care about decentralization. They just want gains. They want low fees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's totally true. I think it's going to serve a certain set of users. But I think long term, when you're talking about big companies come in to develop big blockchain solutions, they're going to care about decentralization. And wherever those companies have built major projects that actually incentivize users to use them, then that's where the users will go. So think about like Visa, for example. We saw them developing a payment solution on top of Ethereum in collaboration with Crypto.com. Well, there's a reason they chose Ethereum for that. I think decentralization is a key factor. Okay, so I don't think Visa is smart enough to do their due diligence and not build a payment solution on top of something that's way more centralized than Ethereum is. So that's my take on that. So we're seeing long term, will the world actually be multi-chain? I don't know for sure, to tell you the truth. But that's, there's some people who think that, we'll see a multi-blockchain world where some blockchains will serve certain use cases. Some will serve other use cases, like, a very decentralized blockchain like Ethereum. It could still be expensive because maybe it's better for interbank settlement, big payment rails, et cetera, et cetera. And then maybe some smaller, more centralized blockchains that are cheaper to use are better for the casino gambling applications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That could be true. We'll see. All right, everybody. So that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so more people can learn about blockchain. If you like these videos, you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, then how can you get your hands dirty today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find any of my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. If you like those, you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Okay, you don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. All right, so that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.